Hi, y'all. Well, for everyone who has been with me on this series, just want to say welcome back. Thanks for joining tonight, and also thanks for watching on the replay. Carlin, good to have you back. I love seeing your name pop up on my Periscope, so it's great to have you live. Hi, Brittany. Thanks for joining. So I am on this parenting series and having a great time with it. Hi, Josiah and Jeannie. Good to see y'all on Periscope tonight. It's really great. So I hope that you guys are really being strong in your parenting. One of the hardest parts of parenting is this idea of the whole cause and effect, the whole idea of, we cannot rescue our kids. It's that strength that overdone becomes a weakness because we want to rescue our kids. We want to catch them before they fall. Hi, Janice. Thanks for joining. Oh, hi from Argentina. Welcome. But really, y'all, your kids have got to learn. Oh, Bryson joined. Hey, man, I haven't seen you for a while. That is awesome. That is so cool to see you. So cool to see you. So natural consequences. If you didn't catch the replay for the 12 o'clock Periscope, y'all go ahead and watch that. But my husband had just told me recently about a close friend of his who had just told him, I'm not paying for my daughter's rehab again. Well, he paid for her rehab last time and she's 27 years old and, he's paying for rehab again. What are the chances that he'll pay for it next time? Pretty great, right? And that's the problem is whenever we begin to bail our kids out, and this begins when they are really little, y'all, when we start to bail our kids out, and we're just trying to be nice, we're just trying to be supportive, but we don't want them to experience the negative consequences of their choices. It's just like, no, don't do that. Don't choose that. That is not going to end well for you. We know this because we're fully developed. We're fully mature. We can see the effect that's going to happen. We know that, hey, if you do this, this is going to happen. And we try to warn them. We try to tell them. They do it anyway. And y'all, they have to learn by doing, same as you. We learn by doing. Okay, I learned last year that if I eat too much, guess what? I'm going to be overweight. And I found myself, before I knew it, 20 pounds overweight. It's like, okay, there's a reason for that. I've been eating too much. And so cause and effect, there is natural consequences for eating too much. You're going to be fat. Okay. There's a natural consequence, and I knew it was going to happen, but until I actually experienced it, it was my first time to gain that much weight. And I was like, until I actually experienced it, I'm like, okay. So now I keep that in mind when I make my food choices, right? Those natural consequences. But y'all, a lot of times we try to eliminate these natural consequences, even from the time your kids are really little. The natural consequence, if they pee in their panties, that they're going to be wet. But there's no natural consequence if they're wearing a pull-up. If they pee in their pull-up, they're not wet. And so you remove that natural consequence. It takes longer for them to potty train. And then, I had one parent say, well, I don't want my kid to go to jail. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, he's involved in illegal activity. Like you're going to have to tell the police or else you're responsible. I don't want him to have a record. It's like, okay, how about you? Well, you're going to have a record if you don't turn him in because he's doing illegal activity in your home, and that's not okay. Protecting him is not even in his own best interest. So at some point, you've got to let him experience the consequences of his choices. And I know it's hard. She says, well, if I turn him in, he'll be in jail. Then what do I do? He'll always have this record. It's like, exactly. He'll have a record, which will make him stay on the straight and narrow. What do? You go visit him in jail. I mean, that's so much easier said than done, right? It's so hard to do. But y'all, it is not in anyone's best interest. It's not in your child's best interest for you to protect them all the time to where you're always bailing them out. They don't grow up to be a responsible, healthy citizen that way, and you're going to continue this pattern of where you have to bail them out all the time, and they never learn the lesson of natural consequences. So y'all, put in your mind right now that even when your kids are very young, that them experiencing natural consequences is so important. Hey, look, if they're broke, why are they broke? Well, if they're not working, they're not going to have money. That's the same way I would be broke. If I'm not working, I don't have money. If I do work, I get paid. It's just a natural consequence. It can go either way, and so it's the way it is. Y'all, sometimes we try to remove consequences by interfering. So I hope that y'all never do that. By interfering, like say if your husband is harder on the kids than you are, then when he's trying to discipline the kids, you step in and you try to rescue them from being disciplined and from being well disciplined from a spouse, a well-meaning spouse, that wants to be a little more strict with them, and you step in and try to rescue them. Oh, don't make them do that. They're just tired. Oh, and you make excuses. Don't make them do that. They just had a bad day. Oh, don't, no, like it's okay. And you're trying to rescue them from being trained, and that's not good. Tonight, Brittany, you did an awesome job with Anderson tonight. I just have to tell you that. So tonight, we were all a whole family dinner at Chick-fil-A. So my husband and I and my parents and kids and grandkids are all at Chick-fil-A tonight. And Anderson had a little bit of a bad attitude when we first got there. And so he had brought his toys to the table. And I could see that he was not going to be transitioning well. His manners, he was like playing really rough with these toys. And I was starting to talk to him and be like, hey, how about if Nina holds your toys while we're eating? And Brittany was great because she could have at that point tried to rescue him by saying, hey, Mom, it's okay. Just let him play with his toys. Just let him play with his toys while here at the table. It's okay. But she didn't. She did not rescue him. She instead removed him from the situation, which was perfect. She took him. She's his mom. She's the authority. I'm not the authority when we're all together. She is. And so she removes him, and I don't know what she told him in the bathroom, but when he came back out, boy, he was a new kid. And I quickly put the toys away so they wouldn't be an issue when he came back. So I put him away, and he wasn't even thinking. But he came back, and he had his best table manners behavior on, and he just said, hi, Mimi. Hi, Papa. How was your day? And then he had a conversation at the table. He was engaged in conversation. He had perfect table manners. He's 4 years old. You don't know what you said, but it was with a calm voice. But, Brittany, you removed him from the situation. That was perfect. And you know what? You did not rescue him. You kept the standard high. And I love that you did that. You did not rescue him. And that was perfect. Instead, you did a perfect job of discipling him, of leading him to right behavior. So you removed him from the situation. He knew you were serious. You brought him back. His table manners were perfect. He had great conversation, and he finished all of his food. And he was so proud of himself for eating everything. And then he played nicely. And, he was great. And he even got a reward at the end of the day. He didn't know he was going to get a reward, but he did. And I was just really proud of him for really, adjusting his attitude. That was perfect. But, Britt, you could have rescued him. And that's what a lot of parents do. Parents will often run interference with their kids and rescue them from getting in trouble from the teacher, or rescue them. You did talk about whether he could go back and tell Mimi and Papa. Yes, and he did that, and that was wonderful. So you told him what to do instead of what not to do, which is great discipleship, great discipline, discipleship, great leadership. That's awesome. Like we've been talking about. You told him what to do. That was awesome. And he lined up right away, and he did it. We were all so proud of him. And it made a really peaceful dinner. It was wonderful because his manners were so good, and he was well engaged in conversation, which is perfect behavior for the table. Playing with toys at the table, that's not the time to play with toys, with superheroes banging up against each other. It's not good manners. So he adapted. It was great. But oftentimes parents will even run interference with coaches. It's like, when the coach will discipline your child or will correct your child, discipline them as in correct them or bench them or something, the parent will be like, I'm standing up for my child, against the coach. That is not what you should be doing. That is rescuing them. The natural consequence of your child not being obedient to the coach is they're going to get in trouble. That's right. Mama bears are the worst. And you know what? That is not in the best interest of your kids whenever they are under the authority, whether it be a teacher or a coach or anybody else, a grandparent. You want to come in and you want to be or another parent. You want to be an assistant and a support system to the authority. Even the police, if your children are doing something illegal, you don't want to try to rescue them from the law. If your kids get a ticket, try to fight the ticket, or, hire an attorney so it won't be on their record. Listen, if they get a ticket, it's on their record. That is a natural consequence. And they'll do a better job obeying the law next time when they have that natural consequence. The worst thing you can do is to enable your children to be irresponsible by constantly rescuing them. So y'all, don't do that. Don't do that at all anymore. I jotted down a few other ways that I see that people will tend to rescue. Let's see. Oh, rescue their kids when they don't have friends. Their kids don't have friends. You know what? That's a natural consequence of not being nice. So a lot of parents will try to manipulate friendships or even bribe other people to be their friends by taking them to nice places or whatever. But a natural consequence of being unfriendly is you don't have friends. And this is a great life lesson, and it will be better for kids to learn this life lesson than for you to run interference and rescue them. And I said earlier today, it's the OL principle. When your kids, tell you nobody's going to play with me, just say, oh, well, what could you do differently in the future that maybe more kids would want to play with you? Have you been really friendly to people, lately? What could you do? What could you do differently? Maybe you need to be more friendly, and what can you do differently? You're broke? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's a bummer not having any money. What could you do differently? Well, when could you work? When could you get a job? When can you mow the neighbor's lawn? Have you asked anybody if they might need some help? Would you consider going to get another job? Are you tired of being broke? Would you like to work so you wouldn't be broke anymore? But if you just keep giving them money, you keep giving them handouts, well, then they're not motivated to work because you're enabling them to be lazy. But there's a cause and effect, y'all. If you didn't work, you wouldn't have money either. So it's kind of the way that it works. So we want to teach our kids from early on that there are natural consequences to their behaviors, and don't rescue them. Y'all, I'm so glad you got this. I really feel like you get it, right? I feel like you get it. Now you just have to be strong enough to do it. So don't bail. Don't bail your kids out. Just be strong enough to be supportive of them and love them and be empathetic as they go through the consequences. Like the consequences of not wearing their raincoat is they get soaking wet and then they're shivering and they're cold. But you don't want to be like, well, see, you get what you get. You should have listened, and you don't have to even do that. Just say, well, in the future, you'll probably want to wear your raincoat, and I thought you might be uncomfortable being wet, which is why I suggested you wearing your raincoat. But in the future, you know now that you need to wear that coat, like Mommy had said. There's a natural consequence there. Well, God bless you guys. Thanks for Periscoping tonight. And thanks for joining Bryson. It's great to have you back. There's all 4 of my kids up there. For those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Trina Titus Lozano, and I'm a counselor and an ordained Christian minister, and I've got 4 kids right there. They're all grown, and 3 are married, and 9 grandkids, and 1 more on the way coming up soon. So I love parenting, I love grandparenting, and I love talking about it. If you like past Periscopes, you can go to my website, TrinaTitusLozano.com. If you're interested in parenting, watch the A to Z parenting Periscopes. They're great. Okay. Good night, y'all. Bye-bye.